community to contribute. It is fitting that the first and the last sessions of today's symposium discuss how to improve, how to do better, and the skills and abilities needed to strengthen the social and community development efforts. Many successes and many improvements that you will hear more about today. These successes could not be possible without the efforts of many, without the systems, the institutions, the networks, and the partnerships that are in place to help people coordinate efforts and resources. By attending the symposium today, you may have chosen to spend some moments to listen, to be inspired, or to inspire yourself, and to reflect. One thing that moments have in common is that they are fleeting. They are here now and gone forever. Not all moments result in significant change, but some do. And in some moments, change happens, seeds are planted, which grow into journeys of transformation. So let us hope that today many valuable seeds are planted. Let us set the stage a little bit, provide some context. So you cannot speak about social development and community renewal without mentioning several ships: partnership, membership, relationship. You must also speak about cooperation, collaboration, joined up government, alignment, etc. For all of these ships to sail smoothly and for cooperation and collaboration to work, we must also speak about the underlying rudders like common interest, trust, sharing, and interdependence. But even deeper than those, we must also shed light on what stops us from being more cooperative and collaborative. I'm speaking about factors like defensiveness, the savior complex, inward mindset, and being closed minded. It's crucial that we examine some of these blind spots today in these few moments. For any of us who have tried to coordinate a complex project, we know that it requires sharing knowledge and resources, communication, and we must appreciate that the parts are all interdependent. It requires us to plan activities and execute the plan together. Of course, it involves rules and norms, how to operate, scheduling different events, bringing things together, and bringing all the components together. So just imagine everything that it would have taken to bring off this symposium today. The number of people who would have had to meet, to share the ideas, to keep things going in terms of constant communication. So to me, it's like building a house. You must have the architect, you must have the engineer, you must have the contractor. They must all work together. Similarly, when it comes to community renewal, there are many players and many levels at work. There are the structural and institutional elements for cooperation, such as the interagency networks, the coordination hubs, the secretariats, the performance management plans, and all of the other systems. You also have governance elements, you have strategic planning, you have monitoring and evaluation. When all the components are considered, all the agencies and organizations and the communities and the residents, you're probably talking about thousands of people involved in some way in community renewal. All the hubs, the communities and their residents, the non-profits, the donors, the local and central government, these make up thousands of people involved in some way to help the volatile and vulnerable communities, including children who need to go to school, youth who need to be productively employed, the elderly who need health care and better housing, partners who need support, parents who need help, and everyone who needs help in terms of being protected from violence and criminals. So it's a massive effort. Some would call community renewal and social development a wicked problem because of the massive causal complexity. But to me, sometimes the hardest problem is getting people to work together to solve some of these wicked problems. These thousands of people have their unique perspectives, their areas of expertise, their ways of doing things, their beliefs, and what they think is the right way, what they consider to be success or failure, what they think needs to be the priority, what they want to see happen. And it is here that we must take a closer look at the psychological factors that can prevent us from being on the same page or being close enough to optimize our time and our effort. Imagine if all the systems, networks, institutions, policies, regulations, etc., work in the way that we meant them to. That would be a tremendous accomplishment. We're here today to examine what prevents us from permanently solving some of these wicked problems and to answer many of the questions that lie in our minds in terms of what really can we do about it. The answer may lie in our self-examination, turning the mirror inward to ask, what am I doing that could be preventing us from being more collaborative? What could I do to improve communication or to share ideas better? Too often, we ask others to engage in the very self examination that we refuse to do ourselves, but which we actually need to do. Simply put, we rather not find out that it might be us holding things back. And you can know when this is happening when you find yourself in a situation where you start feeling uncomfortable that maybe you might be at fault and you might quickly adjust your mind to ensure that you don't feel any blame. This, my friends, is defensiveness at work, a very human part of our everyday life that, if goes unchecked and goes to the extreme, can prevent us from being collaborative. The successes and failures of coordination and collaboration, all of these plans and policies, sometimes come down to the inner workings of our mind. Despite being smart and rational people, we can really spend more time to develop further and to get out of our own ways. There is good news. We simply need to recognize our role in the problem and learn the skills to overcome our self-erected barriers. For instance, the superhero syndrome or savior complex prevents us from building trusting relationships and partnerships. You might recognize this if you feel like you are carrying the burden yourself, like you're the only person responsible for change, like you're the only person who really cares, and that success and failure depend on you only. Also, we are also programmed more for competition than for collaboration. And we find it super difficult if we're not trained in collaborative skills to be collaborative. We err towards more competitive adaptation, even with partners who are trying to achieve the same common goal. When we lose sight of the common interest in solving the bigger problem, we operate as if we are adversaries competing for wins, and in that way, we carefully guard information or we strategically share information to secure our wins first. It is ironic that community renewal is for the greater good, but sometimes we treat it only as personal accomplishments. It is, of course, admirable that we spend our careers trying to help and trying to transform lives. Yet at times, we get a bit carried away, and we need to be reminded that development is everybody's business, everybody's job. That our personal accomplishments and failures are also the collective accomplishments and failures in this line of work. As we take serious causes seriously, we should also not take ourselves too seriously. By doing this, we cultivate more of an outward mindset rather than an inward mindset. The Arbinger Institute speaks about inward and outward mindset. With an inward mindset driving what we do, our primary goal is to protect me and to advance me. With an outward mindset, however, we shift from thinking inwardly to outwardly and thinking and doing more to advance the collective outcome. Similarly, with an inward mindset, we see other people as objects, while with the outward mindset, we tend to see people as people, taking into account their needs, their perspectives, and with more of an ability to empathize about their challenges. Indeed, the mindset is a powerful thing, and we do what we set our minds to do. So we must be careful whether we are cultivating an inward or an outward mindset. When we peel back all of the layers and the veils to get to the essentials of coordination, We recognize that the antidote to much of this is trust, and skills in trust building are essential. But it's not the knowing that we need, it's the doing. We find it harder to act on what we know, and I'm here to reassure you that we can improve simply by training in the skills and abilities to enact collaboration and coordination. Sometimes we just need an opportunity to practice and develop these skills. Even if we know about them, we must practice them. The radical collaboration methodology that I am aware of helps us to recognize our competitive mindset and the power of personal transformation in collaboration. There is no one moment that results in full collaboration. Humans almost certainly will at some point fail to act in collaborative ways because of our defensiveness, and we can learn to recover over and over and then continuously try to improve our relationships. It's like a marriage. Radical collaboration helps us to understand the artificial barriers that we create, how we use silos to protect our territory, and how competitive we are. When we are in competitive mindset, winning is a personal accomplishment and gain. We are programmed to be competitive even for great causes beyond our self accomplishments. This is just how we are programmed. To learn a collaborative mindset, however, it allows us to see winning as mutual gain, as growing the whole for everyone to benefit and not just about personal wins. It's amazingly simple when people find value in genuinely listening to others, giving someone the benefit of the doubt, loosening our control, and forgiving when we can, so that it sets the stage for a trusting, flourishing relationship. It's very important for us to think about what we can do personally today to create in ourselves a desire to collaborate more. It's also amazing how our rigidity and our sense of holding our positions can stunt this development. Our defensiveness shows up on a daily basis when we tell ourselves we can't be bothered to listen to others because we know what is best and we know that our colleagues must listen to us. It is amazingly difficult to work with persons sometimes when we believe they constantly go off on tangents. Sometimes we even decide not to voice our concerns because we don't want to rock the boat. When we plainly believe that some of our colleagues are idiots, and sometimes we feel like we are not taken seriously and so our contributions are not significant. Sometimes we can't stand when people don't listen to us because we know the right thing to do. All of these are manifestations of defensiveness and prevent us from being open to collaboration, prevent us from working with the thousands of other people who have different perspectives and who might also be right. If we keep the mindset that we are the ones who are always right, then we block off the communication and the relationship building with others. On my personal journey to become a radical collaboration trainer and in conducting some of the workshops, I have really come to believe in this methodology. I have seen personal transformations and I have seen it in myself and others, both in the public and the private sector. I've seen where people have become amazed to learn how unconsciously competitive they really are, how important it is for them to listen to others, and how valuable it is to set the tone for a conversation with a partner. In one of the exercises that we do, the participants were asked to prepare for a meeting with a partner, and they spent a lot of time just trying to figure out what they were going to say. When they were about to present, they recognized that they were not even prepared or spent one thought in terms of what the partner was going to present to them. They were really just busy trying to figure out what they wanted to say and spared no thought as to what the partner was coming to the meeting with. These are signs that we're not really interested in collaboration. We're very much interested in serving ourselves in a good way, but in ways that prevent us from working with others. Participants in these types of workshops also share that they learn a lot about the value of bringing teams together, especially when there is a project that requires many hands and they know that they couldn't do it on their own. So it's important for them to bring in other members of the team to have that desire to work with others and to ensure that they are open to other people's perspectives. Finally, when people come to this session, they always think, well, it's good because I'm going to be able to solve other people's problems. The people who are attending with me, once their problems are solved, then everything will be fine. But they usually leave thinking that, well, let me understand that I have a role to play and that we're all imperfect and we're all trying to work together. Again, it is not knowing these things. It is more about deliberately doing. Behavior does not just change overnight, especially when it requires a self-development. It is the how that usually gets us. It's the skills and the practice at doing that we must really pay attention to because we know a lot of this already. In terms of radical collaboration, the 5 essential skills that we're taught in the methodology are these. First, you must have a genuine intention to reach out to your partner to collaborate. It's called the collaborative intention or mindset. The next skill is to be open, to be able to tell the truth about yourself and the truth about others in a way that builds relationships as opposed to destroying them. Being able to have the skills to have open conversations, difficult conversations. A third skill is self accountability. Being able to admit and to recognize the role we also play in the challenges that we face, as well as in the successes that we achieve. Our own responsibility is something we don't often or pay enough attention to. The fourth skill is self awareness and awareness of others, especially learning about our needs to feel competent, being aware of our need for being competent, our need to be and feel significant, and our need to feel liked. These needs, if not fulfilled, can take away from our relationships. And once we are aware that we have these needs and we look for fulfillment of these needs in our relationships, then it brings a lot of awareness as to why we behave the way we behave and to why others react to us in particular ways. The fifth skill for radical collaboration is interest-based problem solving and negotiation. When it comes down to negotiating with partners, what this skill teaches us is that the common interest is of most importance. Once we establish that mutual interest and we negotiate from the point of mutual interests as opposed to positions, then it becomes much clearer what we can achieve together as opposed to holding one position or holding to another position and not budging. So the 5 skills in radical collaboration are quite useful. I've felt it, I've practiced it, I know that it works personally, and I continue to promote it because I do believe that defensiveness is a major hindrance to us being able to collaborate much more than we already do. For social and community development, if you have individuals who are charged with the responsibility of boundary spanning, who serve as hubs that bring different parties together, those persons would do well to learn radical collaboration skills, to see the whole pie, and to develop an outward mindset. Familiarity with others through networks increases the chances of information flow and exchange. But deeper than that and beyond that, it is the attitude of openness and acceptance of the validity of other people's perspectives, giving up the illusion of control and the illusion that we're always right, and facilitating co-creation based on having an outward mindset. These are the things that significantly enhance the success of these networks and these boundary spanners. These are the things that are essential for coordination and collaboration. The journey of collaboration requires the long game, not the short one. Today, we're seeking to plant seeds and to encourage a journey of transformation. And sometimes it's the underlying things that we need to address so that the other things can be solved. A chance here to be flexible with our need for control and to invite others in by being open ourselves. There is much that we already know. What we need to do now, in my opinion, is to focus on the doing. Thank you for having me. All the best for the rest of the symposium.